Hi, I'm Dean with Old English Outfitters, and today we're going to be talking about the much anticipated HK CC9. We were lucky enough to be able to find one of these through distribution and get it in to do a YouTube review. So let's talk about the pistol because there has been a lot of both excitement and controversy around this gun. So we wanted to get our hands on it and shoot it and give you guys, as always, an unbiased review of what you get when you buy one of these. So starting from the bottom, it does come with a 10+1 magazine and a pinky extension 12+1 magazine. Now, I will warn you, these magazine springs are exceptionally stiff. We were not able to get the 12th round in this magazine except for using a mag loader. I could not get the 12th round in. I had to use an Uplula to jam that in there. So I would recommend immediately when you get one of these, load that 12 round and the 10 round up and leave them sit for a couple days. Let those springs kind of relax a little bit so that hopefully you can load them by hand. Moving up from there, we do have some decent grip texture and ergonomics on the grip. The texture itself is pretty smooth, but because of the overall shape and the single finger groove where you get it, you still get a very firm purchase on the pistol, but not because of any aggressive texture, which is nice for a CCW gun, which this is marketed as. It does have interchangeable back straps via a roll pin here at the butt of the grip. It has a small, which is what's installed currently, and then a large that comes in the box with it. The gun is full ambi, so you have a mag release on both sides and a slide release on both sides. Now, it should be noted, the mag release spring is very stiff. I think they did that intentionally to kind of get away from the everyone hates ambi mag releases thing because you can activate them or deactivate them depending on kind of the size of your hands and how you hold the gun. Not a problem with this one whatsoever because the magazine spring or mag release spring is pretty stiff. Now, very usable. I never had a problem getting the mag out when I wanted to, but it is pretty tight. So you're not going to have any accidental releasing of the magazine. Moving up from there, the trigger and the overall length of pull for the trigger. So they say, on their website anyway, this has the same length of pull as the VP9, which shooting it does feel very similar, both in the length of pull and also in the trigger feel. It's a different shape than the VP9, but the action feels incredibly similar. It's a very nice trigger. It's got some take up, a little bit of creep, but relatively crisp, very usable for accuracy, even in a small gun like this one. Now, the slide is DLC coated. You do have, as they say, a cannon-grade steel barrel. HK is infamous for having indestructible barrels, ones that you could shoot a squib load out of if you had to. So this gun, as heavily as they tested it, several 100,000 rounds without any problems, it's going to be just as durable as any HK that you've come to know and love. It does have forward and rear cocking serrations. Now, one thing that is a little bit new for HK, so they do have a direct mount RMSC footprint, so this should fit like the Holosun 507K, things like that. Also, you get a good set of night sights. It's a black serrated rear, and then a high-vis tritium front, which if you look very smallly stamped on the side, it is made by XS Sights. Historically, HK has either been just like 3-dot tritium, or the VP9s came with those like lume sights that would glow for a little while. They weren't night sights, but they would glow kind of like a glow stick where it would charge up in light and then glow for a while, which was fine enough, but just having a nice set of night sights is a good thing to not have to worry about. And then up front here, even though it is small, this is a 1913 Picatinny rail. So depending on the size, the length of your attachment, you can use standard attachments. They didn't do anything like weird and proprietary like some other manufacturers will for their carry guns. So let's get into the overall performance. How did it shoot? It was very pleasant to shoot. Again, having a similar length of pull to like a full-size gun. It shot very well. It was very flat, despite being less than an inch in overall width. So very comparable to like a 365 or a Hellcat in width, but the spacing is a little different. And as somebody with large hands, that felt pretty nice to me, having a little bit more length between the front of the trigger blade and the back strap. Lets you get a good purchase on the pistol, and you'll leave you room for your left hand to get on the gun, which some of those really narrow pistols, they do not do for me anyway, having large hands. The trigger press was nice. It was easy to be accurate with. And the recoil impulse was pleasant. It shot, again, very much like a full-size pistol. Reliability was 100%. If it wasn't from HK, I would be incredibly shocked. You can say a lot of things about that company, but they make good, reliable pistols. Beyond that, the sights are very usable. And it's nice to see HK actually cater to the civilian market for once in their life. I mean, they make military LE guns and that's it. So they actually made a gun for the US civilian market. They made a carry gun, and you can get HK reliability and the HK name in a carryable platform. As much as I may like the VP9, that's a service pistol. So that's nice. As a company that's as set in their ways as HK, seeing them cater to you guys, the customer, is kind of refreshing. Gripes I might have, and they are minor. So the first was, of course, those magazines. That kind of sucks that you can't load the mag by hand. You have to use a loader. Now, it might get better over time, but jamming all those rounds into that small magazine, much like with the X Macro, is very difficult when you first get the gun. The gripe that a lot of people have said is that they think this looks like a Taurus G2C. And don't get me wrong, I get it. The overall form factor, the size, the capacity, I understand why you would say that. To me, in hand, it feels a bit more like the demon love child of like a Springfield XD and an M&P shield. The length front to back is very indicative of the shield, which is a very long in the grip firearm. And then just the overall look of it, it does look like a Euro-produced pistol, much like the XDs do, which are made in Croatia. It does not feel exactly like either of those guns. It does feel like an HK, very comparable to a VP9, but overall thinner. The big winner for me with this gun, because it's not exceptional at base. It's another CCW 9mm, like everyone is producing. Similar capacity to a lot of them, similar length, similar width. This is a company famous for its reliability and also, sadly to say, famous for not catering to or providing for the civilian market, introducing this pistol. And to me, that's noteworthy, because HK has never cared about you and me, not once in the entire existence of that company. They are a military arms company. And to see them not just release, but design a pistol specifically for the civilian market is, I hope, an advertisement for a different direction for HK. Because I've always liked HK. I've always thought they were cool. I think if you're a gun guy, you have some sort of affection for that company because they have been used in so many theaters of war. They have such a reputation, but they're hard to get. And the ones that we can get are maybe not the ones that you would like, especially in the rifle department. So seeing them take a step towards the civilian market, I think is awesome. And I think truly noteworthy, even if the pistol does not necessarily get you really excited. The idea of it and the fact that it exists should. Guys, thank you so much for watching. That is the review. If you like what you saw, please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. In addition, we are on pretty much every major social media platform at Old English Outfitters. So please check us out. If you like what you see, drop us a follow. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.